circumstantial evidence pans out, this is the week Governor Ron DeSantis files paperwork and officially becomes a candidate for President of the United States, with some major donors invited to this hotel on Brickell to do some fundraising for him late in the week. We're thinking Wednesday may be the day the Gov launches his Republican primary campaign after a decisive state re-election and as a force behind some of the most conservative state laws passed in recent history we've been talking about, and also in the crosshairs of former President Donald Trump. Covering both for years is one of Florida's most insightful reporters. Marc Caputo is now national political reporter at The Messenger, a brand new nationwide publication. Marc, welcome back to This Week in South Florida. We've missed you.
How are you?
Okay, your audio is kind of weird, so let's tweak the microphone a little bit because I know you got a lot to say.
I don't know if we can do anything about that.
Okay, sounding better already. Well, welcome
all right,
to
great.
live
Well,
television.
we will blame Comcast for this. So.
All right, so let's start here. The signs are all there. Is there any reason to think that the governor will not finally file this week?
He's going to file this week. He essentially has to. So on Wednesday, he's assembling donors to come to the Four Seasons. He'll probably either go there or chime in a remote message and probably make some sort of kind of soft launch announcement. On Thursday, they're going to have breakfast, get a political briefing, and then those donors and fundraisers are going to hit the phones raising money for the campaign. In order to raise money for the campaign, you actually have to have a campaign. You need a campaign account. And so that's why it's going to happen before then. So we're thinking maybe Tuesday. By Tuesday, you'll see an actual official filing. Wednesday, you'll see kind of some sort of official announcement from DeSantis, and then Thursday, it'll be quite clear that's official because they'll have an account. Incidentally, DeSantis has probably been, or has been, an official candidate since May 15th, since last Monday, because that's when his campaign officially moved into an office. And under federal law, if you spend more than $5,000 to further a candidacy, you have 15 days to officially file the paperwork for your candidacy, but you become a candidate at that moment.
And so
there you go.
Right. And so everybody has been, to me, this is such a genius because everybody has been talking about it. He's been dominating the airwaves. Will he win? When will he? We're carrying the message, the collective media, carrying the message that he needs carried anyways. That's, it's pretty smart on, I guess, his campaign's part to wait.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering they've allowed the message to be totally dominated by Donald Trump up until this point, sure, I'm not sure that balances it out. If you look at what's happened in all of the surveys in the early states and nationwide, it's been pretty bad for Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump has opened up quite a lead over him. It's early, but this is the time of a campaign where the mettle of a campaign is really tested and where campaigns can kind of be won or lost early on and not later on. But
let's
these
talk.
are polls. Let's see how people vote.
Of course. So let's talk early on, because I guess the question now becomes, will he play in Peoria, and not Peoria, but the first caucus, the first primary states. He was in Iowa, the first caucus. He's in New Hampshire, first primary state. It looks like that's kind of where his focus is going to be right up front. Does that jive with what you're seeing?
Right. I did a story about that, about his kind of Iowa field of dreams. Is he and basically everyone else who is in or is going to get into the Republican primary for president realizes that Donald Trump is in such a strong position that in order to win, they need to stop him from gaining momentum, stop Donald Trump from getting momentum in Iowa. The only candidate right now who appears to have the organization, the money, and the poll numbers to do that is Ron DeSantis. So he's going to put a lot of chips into Iowa and then in New Hampshire. Kind of a classic strategy. For a while, though, people were saying, he might take this unorthodox path. But the reality is presidential campaigns are a number of elections, a series of four in the four early states. And if you wind up losing the first two states, especially in the Republican primary, we haven't seen it since 1976, you will not become the nominee. So we'll see what happens. That's going to start in January.
So, what do you think about not only the messaging, but the actual effects of the last legislative session? I mean, it has been national news. There's really no one engaged in national politics that does not know the powerhouse that Ron DeSantis has been in the legislative session and all the conservative and swing to the right things that have come out of there, be it the abortion bill and education and immigration, and even the fight now with Disney. I mean, that is hugely energizing for a conservative base, but how do you think that will play nationally?
Well, a Republican primary quite well. Ron DeSantis is firmly in line with where Republicans are. The question is do they like him more than Donald Trump for president? Right now, the answer to that question is no. But this is what campaigns are for. He has to make the case. DeSantis is still a governor. He's not really, in the minds of many, an official presidential candidate. Once any excuse goes away, oh, he's not a candidate yet, wait until he's a candidate, you'll see. Well, we'll see. And that's going to start Wednesday or Thursday. And from that point on, the rubber's really going to hit the road.
What do you think about this fight with Disney in the context of the business community watching? I mean, the governor's office this week, as soon as the plug was pulled on the $1 billion project at Lake Nona, 2,000 jobs or so. I mean, that was a real, we took it as, oh, here's the other shot across the bow. But the governor's office right away came out and said, hey, Disney was cutting back anyway. Why would you think this has anything to do with the governor? But how do you think this fight with Florida's biggest employer plays with the larger corporate community?
Not so well, but at the same time, DeSantis has been making the case, hey, we did this, even though he's kind of admitting it's retaliation, he's denying it is, that the state did this and took away this special benefit, this taxing district, because Disney was essentially using the tax benefits of that and then engaging in political speech. It's a difficult argument to make. But at the same time, we've heard a lot of tough talk from corporate America about like, oh, we don't like this from Republicans, and then they sort of roll over and finance Republicans. A great example of that is what happened on January 6th of 2021. There's a pro-Trump mob had sacked the Capitol. For the first time, the Capitol had been sacked since the War of 1812. And corporate America said, we're not going to finance these Republicans who voted to overturn the election results. And then they did. So the degree to which you can believe how firmly they're going to stand on principle when Republicans are carrying more of their agenda, we're going to see.
Up is down and down is up, and here we go again. I know you don't like Zoom, and I promise next time you're with us, it will be live right here at the table, because I hope you're with us a lot this election year, and I always value being with you for a few minutes. Thanks,
Great.
Marc.
I'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.